in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the Knicks Morning Vibe. I'm your host, Stephanie. A tough one last night. But I was impressed with the Knicks, even though they lost. If there's a such thing as being impressive in a loss. You know, the Knicks hung in there. They were with a minute or so left. They were still in that game with an opportunity to win it. New Orleans had everything to play for. I believe they came into that game 8th in the Eastern Conference, but an opportunity, if they win their next 2 games, to move up to 5 or 6, and to drop as low as 9. So they had everything to play for, and the Knicks didn't as far as playoff positioning is concerned. But listen, you want to be playing your best basketball heading into the playoffs, right? And as an organization, you want to begin to build championship habits well before you're even a championship contending team, right? And a championship habit is having a steady approach to every game, no matter who you're playing, no matter who's playing, you approach the game the same way. And that's what we've been seeing from the Knicks all season. Right. And that's a kudos to THIBS and the coaching staff, like trying to get those habits, those things you need to win, learn them, and that's what's been on display all season for the Knicks. Very impressive. Salute to everybody. I'm going early today, 9:00, even though it's a weekend, because I got a huge day ahead of me. But I appreciate everybody who's gotten up early on the weekend to be with me. And those who will listen later, the replay gang, I appreciate you as well. All right, let's get into it. The Knicks entered the game 47-33, 5th in the Eastern Conference, 7-3 over their last 10, having won 5 straight games. New Orleans 81-39, 8th in the Eastern Conference, 8-2 over their last 10, having won their last game. We started Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes. R.J. Barrett made his return. Obi Toppin and Isaiah Hartenstein, because Mitchell Robinson was out, Brunson remained out, and Randall still dealing with the ankle injury. For New Orleans, C.J. McCollum, Herbert Williams, Trey Murphy III, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, Zion Williamson is out. He's been out for a long time. All right. Let me just talk to you a little bit about my observations for the game. And of course, I will check in for the chat. You guys are a big part of the show. I thought the Knicks showed up big in this game. Like I said, they were without 3 starters, and they fought tooth and nail against one of the top defensive teams in the entire NBA, at least over the last 10 games. They've been playing at a very high level. The Knicks were down 8 in the first quarter, and they came back. You had every excuse, They were down 8 in the first quarter. They came back and led at the end of the first quarter, 30-27. Quickly had 15 first quarter points. That's important. You want to get off to a big start when you don't have your top guns and you're playing on the road. You don't want to dig a big hole for yourself that you got to spend all game trying to dig themselves out of it. And Quickly did that for us. I thought Grimes was elite on the defensive end against Brandon Ingram, who's been on a tear as of late, right? Really showing his skill level, right? He held him below his average. I don't know what his average is, but it's not 18 points, right? And last night he had 18 points. Grimes was cutting off the driving lanes, forcing him to shoot over the top. That's all you can do. You're not going to get to the hoop. I'm going to make it tough for you to get to your spots, and you're just going to have to shoot over the top. I thought Grimes was phenomenal defensively last night. And then Hart also had minutes on Brandon Ingram and did a good job as well. Like I said, in crunch time, I think it was like Knicks 100, New Orleans 101 with like four, I think it was like 4:20 left. And I was like, okay, you get an opportunity to see these guys who are not used to being in this position, crunch time. And I thought they did okay. I think they were in the game till about a minute left. Overall, I thought RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly carried the team, 28 and 24 points respectively. IQ was phenomenal from three. He took 10 3-pointers. He hit 6 of them, 60%. That's outrageous. Not too much from the 2-point line, though, right? He was 2 for 8. And RJ Barrett was the opposite. Phenomenal from 2-point range, 11 for 15. He missed 4 shots at the basket. But from the 3-point line, 0 for 9. 0 for 9. For me, I've given up on RJ Barrett as a 3-point shooter, but clearly he hasn't, right? He took 9 of them last night. But listen, RJ Barrett, I like the all-around game. He had 7 rebounds. He had 6 assists. He had 1 block, just an all-around game. And I think that's what many of us have been calling for RJ Barrett. And listen, I get it. There were more rebounds available without Mitchell Robinson there, without Randall there. But the assist, the playmaking, I've often said there is playmaking ability in RJ Barrett's game. He just has to take advantage of it. And last night he did. He had 6 assists. He could be huge in the playoffs. He could obviously if he finds the 3-point shooting, that would be tremendous for us. But even if he doesn't, playing the way he played last night, slicing to the rim, finishing, posting up, hitting the floater in the lane, rebounding the basketball, not having tunnel vision, creating shots for your teammates. We can use that in this playoff series coming up. So, I hope it's not that type of situation where, okay, I can do this when Randall and Brunson is not here, but when they're there, I really can't, because I do think RJ Barrett still has the ball in his hands a lot, even with Randall and Brunson, right? So hopefully this is a prelude of things to come for RJ Barrett. I thought he was phenomenal last night and kept us in the game. But I want to highlight THIBS, setting the tone, teaching these guys how to approach the game. Like when we brought him in, we thought that THIBS would be a culture builder. Whether he's here when it all goes down and we win a championship, who knows, right? But that he was the right coach to set the tone and set the culture for a franchise that looked to be in disarray, in my opinion, before THIBS and this new front office regime. And he's done that. When you listen to the players talk, you might as well be listening to THIBS. They asked RJ a question about the playoffs. RJ said, I'm not even thinking about the playoffs right now, one game at a time. And that's what THIBS says. Respect the game. Focus on what's in front of you and try to get better every game. That's it. And when you have players that's kind of repeating what the coach is saying, that's telling you that those players are on board, that those players have bought in. And you could see it manifesting on the floor. Next man up mentality. Like that's something THIBS has been preaching as well. And that's what happens. Like the way they played last night, I was excited about this game because I like to see competitive games. The Indiana game was okay. But this game, to be able to see these guys down 3 starters, to see how they play and to see how they came out and play, it was just great to see. But it also speaks to the players, the confidence they have in themselves, the skill level to do what they do. Because you can get all the opportunity in the world. If you don't have the skill level, if you don't know how to play, it's not going to work. You see the skill level of Obi Toppin. You saw Obi Toppin put the ball on the floor and create shots for himself going to the basket, right? So he's increased his skill level over time. Quickly has gotten better, over time. We see Grimes blossoming, right? So you can have all the confidence in the world, you can have all the opportunity in the world. You got to have the skill level. And we're seeing the skill level from these guys. Now, some will argue that they've always had it. I don't. I don't. I just think that, particularly in the NBA, over time, you keep improving your game and improving your game. And even if you had the skill in high school and the skill in college, you got to prove that it translates to the NBA with bigger, stronger, faster guys, that you could still do what you did in high school and college, right? I think it took Obi some time to get there. It's going to take McBride some time to get there. He was a much better shooter in college, right? But for whatever reason, he's having his hiccups on the NBA level. It's just bigger guys. The guys are faster. It's harder to get your shot off. You need screens. You're playing so hard on the defensive end. It just takes time, right? And it's paying off, for our guys. And I like the way Tibbs does it. And a lot of people may disagree. If you're not one of the top players on the team, you got to earn it. If you're not one of the top players, I'm gonna meter your minutes. And as I see in the game, you're getting better and better in the game. You'll get more minutes, you'll get more minutes, you'll get more minutes. And that's what's happening with McBride. Like, McBride can play more minutes. Brunson is not playing. But McBride is still getting 7, 10, 12, 14 games because he's not ready, in my opinion. So you meter those minutes, because that's part of building championship habits as well. If you're not a top player, I'm not gifting you anything. You're going to have to earn it. That makes players hungry. Players that's really about their stuff, really about it, that makes them hungry. That makes them work harder to prove to you, I deserve more minutes, and the confidence and the work that they put in is showing now. McBride is going to be that much better next season. Obi Toppin, if he's still here, is going to be much better next season. And on and on and on. You could go down the roster. So I like what Tibbs is doing off the floor, just in terms of teaching them how to approach the game, what you need to work on to get better, uh, how to break down film. You hear that these guys are breaking down film. Particularly, I hear that a lot about IQ. He looks at film on the opposition, to know what he's up against. All of that is part of the training, in my opinion, when you play for a coach like Tibbs, who are into the details, right? And you could disagree with that. You could say, listen, you gifted RJ minutes, why you can't give Obi Toppin, minutes? Or you could say, he's still not a good coach. The players are just doing what they do. And I agree with that. To me, most of it is about the players. The coach does have a role, but most of it is about the players executing. But I'm not taking anything away from Tibbs and his coaching staff in terms of the culture that they are building and how the players have bought into it. And I think that's what's playing out before our eyes. I'm looking forward to this playoff series. Listen, I could see the Knicks winning in 5. I could see the Knicks losing in 5. It could go either way, right? Depending on, it's easy. Depending on how they play. I know that's not really saying much, right? Depending on how they play, I could see it going either way. And I think if there's one positive coming from Julius Randle's absence, is that the team gets to play without him. He might miss a game or two, right? The team will get an opportunity to see Obi in real games for extended periods of time and gain confidence in him. No, he's not going to do what Randle does. But when you're having success with Randle out, that helps the confidence of the team as well. That if he has to miss a game or two, we can hold it down because look what we've been doing. So I'm super excited about this team heading into the playoffs. All right, let me check in with the chat before I get into individual um stats. Ally Wise. Oh, East Blue Drew. If Obi corner threes drop, he's staying. I mean, listen, if they trade Obi Toppin, I don't think they're trading him because he can't play or he can't contribute. I think it comes down to he's stuck behind Randall. How much he's up for an extension. Excuse me. How much money do we want to invest in Obi Toppin, who's going to play 17 to 20 minutes a game? I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think it's his skill level. Ally Wise, THIBS is killing the he can't develop young guys narrative. I never agreed with that idea. Exactly. He just does it his way. People feel development is solely about game time. And if you're not getting game time, you're not developing. I don't believe that. And obviously, THIBS doesn't believe that as well. Salute, Stafford Don. I appreciate you. Mike Boyd, y'all know by now, our Q try to add a move or two to his game every summer. The sky's the limit. And that's how you do, step by step, step by step. And I'm really impressed with Obi, in terms of adding to his game, because the first season, he was a hot mess. Listen, I gave him the business. And I said he has to develop a three-point shot. He has to learn how to put the ball on the floor. He has to get his footwork together. He has to put in a lot of work. And he's done that. And I get it. Some people are like, oh, he did it in college. Doing it in college is doing it on one level. Doing it in the NBA, that's a whole other level. You understand? There's a lot of things you can get away with in college. You can't get away with in the NBA. Obi Toppin has worked on his game, and you see, and they all have. They all have. And you seeing the fruits of it. But you can't get on Tom Thibodeau because 2 years ago, he was like, no, I'm not playing y'all like that. Extended minutes anyway. I'm not doing it. You got to level up. You got to level up. You earn it. Then I'm going to put you in. And look, those guys hungry in the offseason. Gym rats working on their game. We're seeing the fruits of it. They're getting more time. All right. Dwayne Dennis, I appreciate you. That's so true. Cleveland isn't just going to let us beat them. And Donovan Mitchell is going to want some payback against the Knicks and Brunson. Yeah, it's true. I mean, we'll talk about it. I'm going to do a Just Nicking It show special edition on Tuesday. So we're going to go next week, Tuesday and Thursday, and we'll get into Cleveland more. Listen, I think, Cleveland doesn't have a lot of playoff experience either, right? So it's not like we're going up against a team with a lot of playoff experience. But, they got those trees back there. They have, Donovan Mitchell. I think it's an evenly matched series. We shall see. Walter White, Obi deserves minutes and should leave for the betterment of his own career. That I agree. I don't see a path forward for Obi Toppin with the Knicks. Everyone's talking about the Mavs, and obviously if we don't get the pick, I'm disappointed. 11th pick in this draft could be a pretty good player that the Knicks may want to stash on the end of their bench or use as an asset to upgrade the team. But it may not happen. JJ, just not sure why RJ deserved 24 shots. Heard our ball movement we were playing with before he came back. Yeah, but I'm not sure we would have won this game without RJ Barrett even moving the ball. Because it's really about getting shots and hitting shots, and the Knicks did not shoot well last night. We'll get into that as well. All right. Let's see. Pablo M. I want to see Deuce improve. I believe he has the skill, but he needs the confidence. I think he has the confidence. I just think The NBA is a different look. If any one of us went down to the gym and played against the bitty basketball team with our broken up knees and lack of speed, we probably still beat them, right? But you put us on a high school team or a college team, is different. You know, that posting up that you were able to do and back down that guy that's, 8 inches smaller than you and not as strong as you, you're gonna be able to get off easy shots, you know? But the higher the level, the things you used to do, it's not like you don't know how to do a layup. It's just harder, you know, because the competition is better. And I think that's what happens for not everybody. You see some guys come in from college and seamlessly do their thing in the NBA. But for most others, they got to work at it to be able to do the same things they did in college on the NBA level. Um, I think McBride will get there. All right. All right. Let's talk about the individual stats. Let's get into that. All right. Barrett, like we talked about, 28 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block, 45, 0.8% from the field. I like the way RJ Barrett played last night. I get it. He wasn't shooting the three well. People want to kill him for that. I would have liked for him to take less shots. Yeah, less 3-point shots. When you listen to Wally Zerviak, MSG analyst after the show, he was like, well, they were open shots. You got to take open shots to keep them honest. I mean, he played in the NBA, for me personally, cut it down a little bit. But I thought he played very well last night. Quickly, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 6 3-pointers, 44.4% from the field. Grimes, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 threes, 45.5% from the field, and really good defense. Great defense on Brandon Ingram. Toppin, I thought Toppin had more points than that. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 44.4% from the field. But you saw on at least 3 different occasions Obi Toppin creating his own shot, going to the basket, finishing at the rim. The Knicks didn't shoot well. 43.2% from the field, 32.6% from 3, 75% from the free throw line, which is good for our Knicks, about average. But they didn't shoot well last night. It's a shot-making league. If you're not going to play incredible defense, you got to at least hit your shots, right? The Knicks are not a good defensive team, middle of the pack, right? But offensively, they are a juggernaut. They know how to score second chance points, getting a few more fast break points, as of late. They could score the basketball, but not a great shooting team, but they could score the basketball. Last night just wasn't their night. We've been shooting better as of late, but last night wasn't one of those nights. New Orleans, Murphy the third, 31 points. 31 points. Two-way player. Love his game. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 3 3-pointers. McCollum, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 threes. Ingram, 18 points, below his average, but still 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Didn't shoot well from the field, 40%. I think Grimes and Hart had a lot to do with that. Jones, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. Yeah, those are like the two-way type of players I wish for the Knicks, but it is what it is. The Knicks are doing well, much better than the Pelicans. But they shot well, 53% from the field, 36% from the three-point line, 95% from the free throw. They missed 1 free throw, 19 for 20. All right. Individual stats. Let me see if there's anything I want to go over here. We talked about RJ Barrett. We talked about Obi Toppin. Isaiah Hartenstein. What was that? No points, 1 block, 5 assists, 3 rebounds in 19 minutes. Listen, what Isaiah Hartenstein is bringing on the offensive end in terms of the ball movement and hitting people backdoor and creating offense is phenomenal for us. So basically in that second unit, you can play through IQ or you can play through Hartenstein. You can actually play through Hartenstein in the sense of getting him the ball, have people cut off of him, move off of him, and him to create good looks for our shooters, either at the basket or for 4-3, right? And we're finally utilizing him in this way. That was really good to see. Now, a lot of it, yeah, actually he was in the starting unit last night. Quentin Grimes, we talked about him. Quick, we talked about Jericho Sims, played 30 minutes last night. 6 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. Took 3 shots, hit all 3 of them, and some of them were floaters, right? They weren't just dunks. So, Jeff, this is what I'm saying. Be a star in your role, contribute something when you get minutes. So kudos for Jericho Sims. Josh Hart played 33 minutes last night, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 or 7 from the free throw line, just 1 of 8 from the field. Not a good shooting night for him. 12.5%, didn't hit any of his threes. So shooting wise, not a great game. But as far as, again, as Ron likes to say from Still Nick fans, the ancillary stats, he's one that usually fills up the box score. McBride, 17 points last night. 17 minutes, 17 and a half minutes last night. 7 points, 1 rebound, 1 steal. And Fournier also had 16 minutes or 15 and a half minutes last night. 8 points, 1 steal, 1 rebound. 3 of 7 from the field. I'm still one that feels that Fournier can help us. I know people talk about the defense, but the Knicks just aren't a great defensive team anyway. They just aren't. And I get you, you could say, oh, it'd be worse if Fournier was in the game. Maybe you're right. But I see Fournier fighting over screens as well. I see him out there, deflecting balls, doing what he can. He's not just sitting there, not trying, And I just think that in the playoffs, we're going to need that shooting. We're going to need that shooting. But if our young guys come through, if RJ comes through as far as shooting, it's a moot point. All right, team stats. The Knicks scored 105 points, below their season average. But again, they were without 3 starters. They didn't shoot well, 43% overall, 33% from the 3-point line. In contrast, New Orleans shot 53% overall and 36% from 3. Knicks -3 in rebounding. But to come up 3 rebounds short, without Randall, without Mitch, I thought they did a pretty good job on the boards. Points in the paint, -14. Like they really got killed, points in the paint. RJ, I believe, had 22 of our 46 points in the paint. I think all of his shots were in the paint. Second chance points, we were +5. So really getting on the boards and converting. And we were +3 in fast break points, +3 over New Orleans, but +3 in terms of our usual fast break points. I think we usually have 12. Last night we had 15. All right. In the Eastern Conference, listen, for us, it's nothing changes. We're locked into the 5th seed. Cleveland is locked into the 4th seed. And our first game is going to be the 15th or the 16th. Before I forget, MBK is hosting an event. I'll add the link to the description below. But we have a lounge at Madison Square Garden for Game 4 of the series against Cleveland. And Game 4 is going to be a good game, right? If we're 3-0, that's a closeout game. If we're 0-3, we're trying to stave off elimination, right? If we're 2-1, and they're up, it's an opportunity for us to tie the series. So Game 4 is going to be a pivotal game no matter what. The link is in the description. Tickets are $365, which is about the going rate. If you try to get a ticket, free food, free non-alcoholic drinks. Only 42 people can fit in that lounge area, and you'll be watching the game with other Knicks fans live at the Garden. The energy at the Garden is bananas in the regular season. So just imagine what it's going to be in the playoffs. And there's still time because we were able to get enough people to sign up. The representative gave us a bit more time. Initially, we only had 24 hours, right? But we were able to get enough to get an extension until Monday, right? That game is going to be probably the following weekend. I would say either anywhere the 21st, the 22nd, or the 23rd, right? The schedule is not out yet, but it'll probably fall within there. So if you can make it, come out. We'd love to have you. All right, let's get to the chat. Some more. Jeff Clafter, if Evan hit that 3 in the fourth, we probably win. Yeah. I mean, he out of there's 12 fourth quarter minutes. Well, every quarter, 12 minutes. He played 8 of them. Germ Warfare, I appreciate you. I think Fournier can help also. Yeah, I really think he can. I really do. JJ, yeah, I like seeing Sims hit those 2 floaters. It looked nice, yes. And that's also showing the evolution of his game. So he's still getting better. Even though he's not playing, he's out of the rotation. He's still developing. That was good. That was good to see. Okay, Jeff Clafter, Obi doesn't rebound, and iHeart was in foul trouble. Yeah, in terms of us being out rebounded by 3, that's a good point, Mike. Boy, the game was a good test. The Pelicans' length gave our young guys, especially, a lot to think about. Yeah, and you know what? That's a very good point. Cleveland has length, right? Cleveland has length. So that's what's up. East Blue Drew, I think if RJ ain't take those shots, more shots for IQ and Grimes and Obi, we win. But the shots came to him, and he was open. I hear you. He could have made one more pass. I hear you. Yeah, everybody's talking about Mavs blatantly tanking. And this is not even, I mean, the Mavs, I don't want to put a lot of attention on the Mavs. The Knicks are going to do well without that, the Mavs draft pick or not, which is the last part of the KP trade, right? It's not like the Mavs are like out of it. You're like, what, a half a game out of the play-in or 1 game out of the play-in? And as an organization, you make the decision that we're not going to even try for the play-in, right? We're going to go for the draft pick. I mean, I don't want to be too judgmental because, you know, that's what organizations do. As a coach, I'm sure. And as a player, you want to play to win. Draft pick be damned. I want to get into the play-in because I'm a competitor. You know, we might go on a run. We might lose and not even make the playoffs. But as a competitor, that's what you want. As a coach, that's what you want. But organizations, the front office, they're taking the long view, right? What's the chances of us winning a championship this year? What's the chances of us even making it into the playoffs, that 7th or 8th seed? What's the chances? This is an opportunity to have a top 10 pick and a draft with a lot of good players. We're going to make an organizational decision, and this is what we're going to do, right? I don't know. The Knicks might do this, might have done the same thing if they were in that position. I don't know. They might have did it, but it wouldn't be without a fight from THIBS. I could tell you. I could assure you that. Will the league step in and do something about it? I'm not sure, but I get it from an organization point of view. Listen, the Knicks are going to do well with or without that pick. Tim Smith, salute all. Knicks lose a meaningless game for us with 3 starters out and played okay, except for RJ's 3-point shot. More annoyed with Dallas making a mockery of their game. And a lot of people feel that. A lot of people do feel like that. And even THIBS said, not about this, but just in terms of the Knicks' approach to last night's game. Respect the game. Respect the game. Play hard. So what, you got the 5th seed locked up? You know, you want to go into the playoffs in rhythm, and you want to respect the game, you know? Jeff Capter, no, your audio did not ruin Thursday's show. And the points you made It was a plus. Even if the audio was a little crackly, you were a plus. You were a net positive. Okay? Put it that way. All right. Yep, Keith Turner said he's not mad at Dallas. He would have done the same thing. All right. We play Indiana again tomorrow. Early game, I want to say 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 12:30, somewhere in there. So early game. The Knicks are 47 and 30. The Knicks are 13 games above 500. Just phenomenal. A lot of Knicks fans predicted 47 wins, and they have it. Fifth in the Eastern Conference, 6-4 over their last 10. They lost their last game. First in offensive rating. First in offensive rating over the last 10 games. 17th in defensive rating. 6th in net rating. The difference between our offense and our defense. We're 3-0 against Indiana. Hopefully it'll be 4-0. I think we're going to see even more rest. IQ might not even play, right? So we'll see what the lineups look like tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'll get to that, Jay Boogie. Appreciate you. Indiana 34 and 47, 12th in the Eastern Conference, 2-8 over their last 10. They lost 3 games, 22nd in offensive rating, 28th in defensive rating, 25th in negative 9.5, the difference between their offense and their defense, right? So they're giving up more points than they're scoring per 100 possessions. Listen, it means nothing going into the game, right? This is just telling you what has been, the type of team you're facing. But on any given night, anything can happen. I project, this is who started last game. Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson probably will be out again. I think Quickly is going to be out, right? We'll see, but I don't think Quickly plays in this game. I don't think Mitchell Robinson plays in this game. For Indiana, Andrew Nembhard, Benedict Mathurin, Aaron Naismith, Jordan Nwora, Jalen Smith, projected starters. But again, that last game of the season, we might see G League players. We'll see. Salute to Jay Boogie. I appreciate you. Good morning, Queen and chat family. Game 4, big night. Come on out. What's better than the Knicks in the playoffs and meeting the best podcasters? Yes, I'll be there. Sim will be there. Obviously, he's hosting it from Nothing But Knicks. Eru from Die Hard Knicks podcast will be there. Gmo, I believe. Guillermo from Legion of Knicks, I believe, will be there. And a host of other podcasters and Knicks fans. And if you've never hung out with the NBK crew, you're missing something. Just a really good bunch of people. All right. Let me check in with the chat. Well, let's do this. What's next? Monday morning, I'll be back to recap this Indiana game. Maybe talk a little bit about Cleveland in that morning recap show as well. And Monday evening, I'll be back on Nothing But Knicks, my weekly spot as the host of the Queen's Court. So check me out over there. And let's just give some love while I'm on my way out the building. Soul Finger 12, West Coast. Appreciate you. Top of the morning. Always a pleasure, Soul Finger. Worldwide L, our team is dangerously good. Yeah. Because you got players stepping up when others are down, getting this critical experience. Like if there's one positive to come out of Randall being out, is guys having confidence that if he can't go, we can do it. So I'm super confident in these guys, but at the same time, I go back and forth. Worldwide L, I'm confident in them, but at the same time, I understand that they're young, right? So in the playoffs, if they take off and they play well, I'm super happy. But I'm gonna be honest, if they don't, I'm not gonna be disappointed. They're young. I've seen cats go to the playoffs it took them multiple times before they got their footing and realized, okay, I got it now, what this is about, right? So I hope they do well. I think they will, but if they don't, I'm not disappointed. Shout out to Stafford Don, Andrew K. I appreciate you. Kareem, my brother, said he's working on it. Wishing everybody a happy Easter for those that celebrate. Absolutely. Kareem, I would love to see you there. Who else? Shy Gunner, the president of the IQ fan club, has graced us with his presence. Salute, Shy Gunner. Appreciate you. Jeffrey, Ashley Inc., appreciate you. Bagger Jones, I appreciate you. Keith Turner, Stafford Don, Jay Boogie, of course. Germ Warfare, JJ. I may say some people's name twice. Y'all know my condition. East Blue Drew. I might even forget somebody. Walter White, I appreciate you. Ally Wise, I may have said you already. I think that's everybody. Tim Smith, who was in here early. Pablo M, Mike Boy, Nikki B from Harlem, Namrit 12, Pablo M. I appreciate you. Dwayne Dennis. I think that's everybody. And Tim Smith, who was in the building early. Always a pleasure. Until next time, fam.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
Where